Yo, it's your boy Zuconius, and got a little bit of a dream to share with you. So, I'll start with the parts that I remember. Started out, um, my old friend, Willie Rin on Twitch, actually. I think he has a different name now, but I saw him live streaming, and he was live streaming IRL at a protest. And he did this for several days, like weeks even. So he was at this event for many days on end, just live streaming it all. Like he never stopped live streaming it. And I was like, I gotta see what's going on with this guy. Like, what's up with that? And so I go see him, and he's like living out in this protest. And it's just live streaming everything, and I catch him mid live stream, and I'm like, hey, what's up? And he's like, yo, dude, you can't be like interrupting my live stream like this. I'm like, what, dude? You've been doing this for weeks. See, I'm just hopping in here. And then I found out that he stole my bike, and he was riding around with my bike. And I was like, woo! I was like, nah. So I we went up this really tall hill. I remember I followed him in secret. It was him and one other guy. They were going up this hill. They were riding up the hill, and the hill got so steep to the point that it was like that, And I followed him up it, and I barely even made it up. Somehow he biked up the hill, which is impossible. But I digress. And I got in contact with him, and I pushed him off the bike, and I was like, this is my bike, dude. And he's like, bro, all right. And then I got really mad, and he was like following me. I was like, do you want to fight? And so we fought. And let me just say, IRL, he would have whipped my ass, because this dude knows like fighting techniques. He would have beat the shit out of me. But in my dream, I beat him up. And and then I rode my bike around, and then like it was nighttime when this happened, and then it was daytime, and I kind of like rekindled the flame with him. I was like, yo, dude, water under the bridge? And he was like, yeah, it's all right, it's all good. And then he had his own bike, and then we like parted ways, and then I lost my bike somehow, and I had to walk home. And it was like there was this like older man that that I was also hanging out with for some reason. And we both were like, all right, it's time to walk home. So we walked home together for a little bit, and then we separated, and I went one way and he went the other way, and I went all through the city. We're in like a city, a not very well off city this whole time. There's protests going on, and there's street musicians, and there was somebody holding a bake sale next to the street musicians. And I went to a bus stop, and when I got to the bus stop, that man that I was with was there, like listening to music, and he saw me, and he's like, dude, what the hell? How'd you keep showing up? Because I did this like 3 times where we separated, and then I saw him again. And so he's like, dude, I swear, if I see you again, I'm gonna freak out. And finally, I'm like, this is the last time. You're staying here. You're getting on the bus. I'm going this way. There's no way it's happening again. And it didn't. And then I went by these musicians and like the bake sale, as I said. There was like a lot of it was very vibrant. And they were just closing up shop. I was like, oh, I'm going to stop by next weekend. Yeah, I'm going to stop by here like soon, like maybe next weekend. Because I was like, are you guys doing this every weekend? They're like, yeah, every weekend. And then like the highway, I like couldn't get home unless I walked on a highway, and I'm freaking out. And then there was like this cutscene of like incompetent township government people. They were moths. So the people who were running the township were butterflies and moths, like literal butterflies and moths, like purple and pink and like green, and like, and there's one like crazy old moth would always, and the way that they would like decide who makes the decisions is they would just sit in a room until only one person was awake. So like they would all try to stay awake as long as they could, and then only one would be awake. And this crazy old moth was able to stay awake the longest, like every time. So they just can't change this rule for some reason. They're following this archaic rule of like, last one awake sets the rules. And every time this old moth is like, we're going to change the infrastructure. We're going to change the infrastructure. We're going to change the infrastructure. And the roads are terrible. So he's not wrong in what he's trying to do. But he keeps making it worse. And so then it cuts back to me walking on the highway. There's cars all around me. I'm like, what the hell, man? This is difficult to get somewhere. And I think it just kind of faded out at that point. Just me kind of walking on the road, trying to get home. Highway after highway. Oh, there was a big old abandoned building. I was crossing a bridge. River going under the bridge. And on the edge of the river is this giant castle-looking building, but it's abandoned, it's shut down. And there is a giant coffee cup, or a giant cup of some sort, on the inside of one of the windows. You can just barely see it in the window, but it's like, what the hell is that? And it's just this giant cup, and it must have been for some kind of old exhibit. I also remember running into a carnival. And I remember I had been there before. Maybe it was in another dream, and it wasn't finished when I was there before, but I went on it this time, and I walk on what I think is just grass, and I look down, I'm like, oh shit, this is a track, and I look over, and there's these camels, not real camels, but they're track camels. They're like, you hop in them, you sit on the camel, and it rides on a track, so it's like it's a animatronic, and so I look over, and this camel's like, starts coming towards me. I'm like, let me back out of that way. And there was some other rides, but I remember that one specifically. And I couldn't like pass because it was just like 3 tracks of it. I'm like, oh shit, I can't get home. What the heck, man? How do I get out of here? That's all I can remember right now. But yeah, it was a good dream. It was an interesting dream. Very interesting dream. Yeah. Peace.